It's time for Net at Night with Amber MacArthur and Leo Laporte, episode 143. Today we're going to talk about a better way to do expense reports, and Amber will take us crowd surfing with me. Stand by. Net at Night's next.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Audio bandwidth for Net at Night is provided by AOL Music and Spinner.com, where you can get free MP3s, exclusive interviews, and more. Video bandwidth for Net at Night is provided by Cashfly at CACHEFLY.com. It's time for Net at Night with Amber MacArthur and Leo Laporte, episode 143 from March 17th, 2010. Expensify. Net at Night is brought to you by Carbonite Pro. It's simple, secure, and affordable online backup for your small business. For a free trial and to learn more, visit CarbonitePro.com. It's time for Net at Night from Petaluma, California, in the U.S. of A. I am Leo Laporte.
And from Toronto, Ontario, Canada, I'm Amber MacArthur.
A beautiful spring-like day in Toronto yet.
Yes, Leo, every spring I have to tell you it's patio weather. That's the only way you'll understand that it's heating up here.
I learned about patio weather when I came to Toronto. I did that for 3 years, every month for a week.
Yes, and
I fell in love with Canada at that time.
And you knew when it was patio weather. It didn't mean that it was hot weather. It just meant that you could possibly sit on a patio that was well protected and with a coat on, stay warm, and have a drink.
Patio weather is not hot. In fact, it's just the warmest temperature or the coldest temperature you can stand outside.
Exactly.
Because it's the minute you can do that. Yeah. So people do. And it's funny because all of the bars and many of the bars and restaurants in Toronto have outdoor seating. I guess when it gets extremely cold in a place and then you have, it's like Sweden. And then you have a nice summer, you want to use that every minute of that sunlight.
Oh, yeah. Most places have patios, so they'll be packed this week with St. Patrick's Day, and hopefully it is the beginning of spring, and we continue to have good weather because I'm enjoying it like crazy. But, Leo, I have to ask you about South by Southwest because I've been sitting here watching all of the tweets, and, it seemed, like a pretty typical year, but then all of a sudden I see this link to my dear friend crowd surfing at the Dignation Live event.
I have a badge here from the URDB, the Universal Records Database. I am an official world record holder for the world's longest crowd surf while live streaming. I think it was 1 minute and 18 seconds. It was quite a significant event.
Obviously, yeah, it was pretty entertaining.
First of all, before we talk about that, I should really just say you had been telling me for a long time go to South by Southwest. Everybody's told me what a great event it is, and I've never been. I've meant to go 3 years running, and I've had to bail at the last minute. Tom Barrett asked me to be on a panel a couple of years. Last year, Jason Calacanis said, "Oh, we should go to South by Southwest in a bus and do a tour." I actually registered leopalooza.com for that very event. But this year, I just kind of at the last minute, we thought, well, let's go. And the folks at South by Southwest were very kind. They got us hotel rooms because you can't wait till the last minute. And by the way, this is the biggest South by Southwest ever, 40% bigger than last year.
Really?
So it was, look, it was hard to get a room. It was hard to get airfare and all. But we got down there, and I now know why it's such a popular conference, especially for Web 2.0 types, for Net at Night types. It's really great.
Yeah, it is great. So how long were you there?
For 5 days.
Really?
Yeah, and it's it's still going on today. We left one day too early. Well, for instance, the GDG Tea Party was last night. We left before the GDG.
Oh, you missed that party, but I'm sure you got to lots of other parties.
We went to the Mashable party. That was really fun. Pete Cashmore was there. He and Lisa Bettany, I think, were an item.
Really?
Yeah.
Go Canada.
Go Canada. I asked Pete, Pete is a Scotsman, and he spends his time kind of split between Scotland and the U.S. And I said, well, you going home to Scotland after this? He said, no, I think I'll go to Vancouver for a bit.
Oh, Leo.
And, of course, he has the beautiful Lisa Bettany on his side. And the two of them together, they make a movie star gorgeous couple.
Yeah, he's pretty cute.
He's gorgeous. She's gorgeous. I mean, it's just it's kind of scary to see the two of them together.
I hope it doesn't crumble, Leo.
Ah, well, it probably will. You know how these Hollywood weddings are.
These Web 2.0
actually, we haven't even married them yet. So let's just, they're.
Well, that's great.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty clear they're dating. I didn't get official confirmation. We're turning into Gawker here. I also went to, what else did I go? I went to Gary V had a secret party that wasn't apparently that secret because there was a lot of people there.
Yeah.
Went to the Ustream party, long line out the door to go there at the Phoenix, beautiful bar there. Trying to get into the Twitter party, but we weren't. Scoble and I weren't allowed in. We're not on the list, so. I couldn't go to that. But
I wonder, was that really like? Has the Twitter? Do you think the Twitter party? And I was wondering about this because I saw Robert's tweet about it. Was it more kind of celebrity oriented?
I don't know. And to be completely fair to Twitter, the way we tried to get in was we sent Robert knew somebody who was part of the the official team or something, tweeted her and said, "Can Leo and I go? Leo's got the streaming camera. We'd like to come." And she said, "Sorry, you're not allowed in," or something like that. So I don't know if I'd asked, ahead of time or whatever. I'm sure it wasn't. It was an oversight. I'm not holding it against anybody. There were too many. This is the problem with South by Southwest. Not only are there too many panels. I think there's something like 23 different tracks at any given time. There's 23 panels going on at the same time, so you cannot go to all the things you want to go to. You can't even come close. Yeah. But then there's too many parties. There's parties, and you can't go to all of them. You have to party hop. And Austin is a great town. The 6th Street there, great. The music, the food.
It's very walkable, too. That's what I loved about it.
And the real problem is yes, it is. You wear out a lot of shoe leather, but you walk. And the real thing that wore me out was the party. So I didn't even go to any one. I missed all the panels. I went to one panel. I'm not kidding. I went to two. I went to Buzz Out Loud with Tom and Molly. They did their show live from there. And I went to a panel with Mark Cuban.
Okay.
A guy who started broadcast.com, now owns the Dallas Mavericks, and is a famous blowhard. Again, he had written a blog post saying that internet TV can't possibly succeed. There's not enough bandwidth in the world. And so anybody who's doing internet TV should just give it up. And he was going to be in a debate with Avner Ronan, who is the founder of Boxy, which is the best way to watch internet TV. And I thought, this is going to be great. It was internet TV versus pay TV. I thought this will be great. I went to the event. And right away, they're just taking pot. No, actually, Mark's taking pot shots at Avner. Really just, you making any money? We were profitable from day one. It was just like annoying
that's irritating.
And really aggressive. And I went there to learn something or just to give Mark a chance to explain his point of view or something. Fortunately, here's the good news. The fire alarm went off. Loudspeaker says, "Please evacuate the building." Everybody left. And I didn't go back. And I bet you most people didn't go back to that event. So much for that.
So, Leo, are you going to go next year, do you think?
Oh, yeah. I'm going every year for the rest of my life. This is the best party I've ever been to.
I'm going to go next year. For sure. I got to go.
Let's talk. Good. I expect you there because it was not the same without Amber MacArthur there. Although everybody else.
I'll get you dancing.
Everybody's there. Everybody goes. I mean, it's everybody you and I know. That's what's fun about it.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I was there, I think, maybe 4 years ago, but it was so much fun. And I mean, it wasn't even as big as it is now. So,
and you got some great interviews then. I remember, including Evan Williams of Twitter. So, the biggest party though is the one you're talking about, which is the Big Dig Shindig, where they do Dignation.
Yep.
Last year, 2,000 people. I thought that was huge. This year, 2,000. Last year. This year, they rented Stubbs Barbecue. They have a whole huge parking lot. It's the biggest venue in Austin. Can hold well over, there were 3,400 people, I was told.
Oh my gosh.
And
That's
it was jammed full of, and you know what? It felt like Woodstock. The vibe was positive. Everybody was in a great mood. It was just so neat. And I went there with my rig. I have a 20-pound, first of all, 20-pound backpack that I'm carrying around. The Ustream lent us the Live U streaming device that has 6 3G connections, so that I can, I always have solid bandwidth, which we did. And we had a FireWire input. I connected to it a camcorder that I put on a monopod with a big old light panels light on it, and a microphone. And I was wearing a headset microphone and I had a handheld microphone. And so I went to the Big Dig party. big shindig, and I was able to go backstage, and it was like it was like, first of all, there's all these people in the audience. Brian Brushwood's doing his magic act. The crowd's going, and I go backstage. I kind of had my run of it. Went backstage. There are Kevin and Alex getting ready for dignation, and just hanging out with them. Just hanging out backstage. Tony Hsieh of Zappos is the CEO of Zappos, at Zappos on Twitter, and Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V. Just hanging out backstage. Yeah. It's like a rock concert.
That's awesome.
And Jay Adelson, and I mean, it was just incredible. Incredible.
It looked like fun, Leo.
It was a lot of fun. So Kevin and Alex say, well, you want to do the last story or want a story with us? So I said, sure, I'll do a story with you. So I come out, they call me, and I come out on stage with my backpack and my stupid light thing, camera. I looked at the video afterwards. I look like such a dork. So I come out on stage, and the first thing they make me do is chug a beer. By the way, when I get home from South by Southwest, my 15-year-old son says, Dad, I thought he saw the other video. He said, Dad, I saw you chugging a beer. I thought, oh, God. I said, Henry, that's the only alcohol I had that night. Don't ever do that. It's a bad idea, but it's too late. I'm a bad influence.
It's too late. And then you're surfing the crowd. I'm sure.
Well, that's the funny thing. So the story is about a hovercraft, right? A personal hover. I think they did this on purpose. I'm pretty sure they did. It's about a personal hovercraft that you could buy. And they say, would you buy that, Leo? I said, well, if it worked, I know. First thing I do is land on my head. They said, no, it's stabilized and, it's only $40,000. I said, yeah, I'd love to have something like that. I said, imagine if you had it right now, you could go out and hover over the crowd. It'd be so cool. And Kevin gets his, Kevin. He's a bad boy. Kevin, if we figured this out. Kevin is the guy who doesn't ever get in trouble himself.
But instigates.
He's an instigator. And he gets other people to get in trouble. So Kevin goes, you mean like crowd surfing? You want to crowd surf? I said, no, I'm not going to crowd surf. You crowd surf. He said, no, crowd surf. And I don't know. Maybe it was the beer. Maybe it was the heady atmosphere. But I said, all right. They couldn't believe I was going to do it. I said, all right. Now, you know what crowd surfing is? It's when a rock star leaps into the audience and they carry him on their hands around on the audience. You've seen the Flaming Lips, Wayne Coyne, do it in a big ball, right?
The big ball. That looks like a lot of fun.
So much fun. The ball is safer.
I can imagine, especially with all that gear that you had.
Yeah, I have this backpack and this thing. And I found out later, I didn't know this, that this actually could be dangerous, that Meatloaf was dropped by his fans and broke his arm. Oh. And then apparently some other rock star landed on his head. So the fans can drop you. Yeah. I didn't realize that. I thought, oh, no, there's too many of them. You couldn't possibly hurt yourself. So I just blithely, I didn't jump into the crowd because there was a moat. Let me tell you, the security, I'm standing here with the camera. Security site says, please stay out of my way. I have to keep line of sight with Kevin in case anybody rushes the stage. I said, okay.
Oh, wow.
I'm major security there, right? So there's a moat with guards in the moat. So I have to climb down into the moat and then up out of the moat onto the audience. And I lean back with my staff. And, of course, the consummate pro that I am, I keep the camera and light on my face the whole time.
Of course.
And I leap out into the audience. And they carry me. They buoy me. And it was actually quite an amazing experience.
Oh, Leo.
I loved it.
I have to go next year. Just when I saw that video, I was like, I got to see things like that.
I think you get Actually, I talked to a number of women who said no woman would ever do that.
No, I don't
probably
think so.
I was actually, risky.
Yeah, I don't think no. Let's not get into that, but no.
Well, and I thought maybe somebody would grab my butt or something, but no, everybody was very respectful and supportive, and it was really fun. I have to say, I felt very taken care of. I felt loved. They were saying, Leo.
20-pound pack on, dude.
So this is it. This is my video.
It would be the first live-streamed crowd surfing.
I screamed like a little girl when So Kevin and Alex, they really egged me on this.
Oh, I can tell.
And they were. Alex was surprised. I don't think he thought I would do this. But listen to this crowd. I mean, this is a massive crowd. This is like a rock concert. That's the thing I took away with this is that this is a podcast with an audience that is basically a rock audience.
Oh, yeah.
These guys are just beloved. So here I am climbing across the moat. There they are. They're holding up their hands like they want to hold me up. I thought, well, how bad could it be? So, that pack is heavy. Let me tell you something. My back hurts from carrying that pack around.
I'm sure.
And there they are. They're floating me through the audience. Now, the amazing thing about this is there are, of course, many cameras there. So there's video from every possible angle.
Yeah. You know what? And for people who are listening in, if you could only see Leo's face, he looks like a 10-year-old kid.
It was the most fun I ever had. And apparently Dig Nation has great video of this, which I'm sure when this episode comes out that they took our video too, so they can intersperse it with my video. But you see, they're pretty nice. Isn't that sweet? I mean, I actually felt really supported and loved. It was a very interesting experience. It was 1 minute, 14 seconds.
That is awesome.
The highest, I think that's the highest accolade I could get. I'd rather have that than any award.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're going to look back on this video for years and years and years.
Well, I got a lot of cred with my family.
I bet.
I mean, Henry's never thought anything I ever did was cool.
But he thought that was cool.
He thought that was cool.
I thought it was pretty cool.
We have our videos at youtube.com/twit. In fact, we've got video from we've done a bunch of video from our coverage of South by Southwest, and I think that works so well. We're going to do more. The next one I want to do is Dragoncon. Same thing, except I want to have the monopod turned into Gandalf's staff, and I want to wear a Gandalf outfit.
I might miss that one.
Dragoncon's, it's a comic convention, and everybody goes in costume, so I got to go in costume.
That would be fun too. Okay, so Leo, lots of news from South by Southwest. Probably the thing that I keep reading the most about is the Twitter announcement of the service @Anywhere that they're launching, which will be kind of like Facebook Connect, so people can use third-party sites and get access to content on Twitter. From what I understand, though, they're just rolling it out to a select few sites like Dig and the New York Times and the Huffington Post. So I don't know if you have any more details on that or what you think of it, but
yeah, I mean, well, one of the things that was surprising is the whole time at South by Southwest, everybody said Twitter's going to announce a plan to monetize.
I know, yeah.
They said, oh, this is going to be huge. When Ev speaks on Monday, we're finally going to hear how Twitter's going to make money. And instead, all they really announced was the equivalent of Facebook Connect or Google Connect.
Yeah.
But it's what we've said all along, which is the real battle is over what I call namespace. See, right now, you're kind of identified in the net maybe by ambermac.com, maybe by your email, maybe by your Twitter handle. And so Facebook's getting into this game. That's when they did the vanity URLs, because for a long time, your Facebook URL was a number, right?
Oh, yeah.
But now, do you have facebook.com/ambermac?
Yeah, I have that now.
Yeah, of course. So Facebook did it. Google's got Google Connect, same idea, where you go to any site on the web that's registered with Google Connect or Facebook Connect, and you can log in there. And Twitter's going to do the same thing. They call it @Anywhere, which is bad grammar. But it's
that
the
is true.
Yeah,
I never thought of that.
Yeah, it's ungrammatical. But anyway, it's the @ Anywhere. And so, as you said, HuffPo, New York Times, Yahoo even, will let you sign into their properties using your Twitter handle and your Twitter credentials.
So this is what I don't totally understand. I mean, when you log into Facebook Connect, obviously your profile picture and all of that information comes up. I guess it's going to be the same sort of thing with Twitter, just that your little profile and that little, when you hover over someone's username now on Twitter, you get that little box that comes up with their information. I'm guessing it's the same thing, so people can follow you directly from your comment, or exactly like Facebook Connect. Nothing new, I guess. Is that right?
As far as I can tell. I mean, they haven't really shown us anything yet. It hasn't been... Well, is HuffPo using it? I think they are.
Are they?
I don't know. I know that
I didn't think anyone was using it yet. But
the other thing is that there were some subtle changes to Twitter over the last couple of weeks, one of which is if you go to Twitter and hover your mouse over somebody's name, it will give you a little JavaScript after a while, because the Twitter servers aren't so fast. It'll give you a little JavaScript with more information. So here's Marco of the Daily Kos. And if I hover it over his name, I get this little JavaScript pop-up with his full name, his location, some stuff I can do. This is new.
Yeah, I really like that, actually.
And I think the idea is this is going to tie in kind of to that, right? So you can see who these people are, but it takes a while to load, and mine doesn't load at all, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's the impression I got. I guess when I saw it, I kept reading so many headlines about it. I mean, I went to BBC's website, and so it was one of their featured stories today. But I'm just thinking, okay, well, maybe there's more that I don't know because, like you said, you expect a big announcement, maybe about.
It is a big announcement. It's trying to be the namespace so that when you say, and I think they're closer than anybody else. A lot of people who come on this network, when I say, "What's your lower third?" they say, "Use my Twitter."
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I think a lot of people like that because it's a way for them to build up their brand more easily. So I say that to people sometimes. I'll just say @AmberMac. I mean, you don't even have to write anything else because people know it's on Twitter, whereas I can't do that with Facebook, right? Yep. I've got to do the whole facebook.com/AmberMac.
Now I wish I'd gotten @Leo because that would have been fantastic to have.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's, but does that monetize it? No.
No.
But it does make them a bigger player, a more important player. And frankly, I don't think a closed proprietary system should be the internet namespace. The internet namespace should be something open.
Yeah, definitely. And I think you're right in the sense that most people with Twitter right now, I think it even feels a little bit closed because you either have to use an app on your phone or go to the site. You don't see Twitter a lot of other places. So I love Facebook Connect. I mean, I've been using that on a couple of my websites for a long time. And it's a great way just to kind of build community and get outside of Facebook and still be able to leverage your brand and get other people involved that way. So it'll be interesting to see how this kind of rolls out and if it's successful and popular.
Yeah, I have Google.
I'm guessing it will be.
If you go to my website and look at the bottom of leoville.com, just like yours, you'll see the Google Friend Connect. You can become a friend. There's comments, there's memberships, and then but you know, you're not going to ignore Facebook or Twitter. Of course, you'll put Twitter on here, won't you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I
You'll
mean,
have
definitely.
all of them, I would imagine. I mean, that's the goal. To make your site as accessible as possible. And I think Google's done some interesting things. Now you can do polls with Google Friend Connect. But I don't want it to be Google either. I mean, this is what I think OpenID promised. And that's how I'd prefer it to be, as some sort of OpenID thing. But nobody ever understood what OpenID did. And
yeah. Yeah, it seems like everybody's kind of clamoring for a piece of that real estate in terms of on different sites. And yeah, Facebook Connect is the only thing that I've seen people use, I think, the majority of the times, especially with mainstream media. It seems to be something that they actually finally understand. So you see it on a lot of online newspaper sites.
I want to know who this Leo is because he's only got 5 followers and he's only following.
Oh, there is
4
Leo
people.
on Twitter.
Yeah. And I wish I could just say, hey, dude, can I just... He's also got protected.
Let's see.
His name's Leonardo. You know, I think he's just some guy who got Leo before I did. That's all.
Yeah, you're right. He doesn't... He only has... He's only following 4 people.
I'm going to ask him if I can follow him.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
All right. So in other news I know I was just listening to Mac Break and you guys were talking about the iPad and the NPR and the Wall Street Journal, among other news organizations, have announced that they are creating iPad-only websites. That will be unveiled in time for the launch of the iPad next month. So, you know, when people are wondering what does that mean, I mean, really all it is a site that doesn't have any flash on it, which is kind of a big thing for NPR's website, for example, because they have a lot of their flash-based audio player on the site. So they've got to do a lot of rejigging of that content.
Apparently, if you go deep within the site, it starts to get un-iPad friendly. It's only,
I'm sure.
It's only the front.
Yeah, I'm sure it's just a couple of pages in because for them to do that, I mean, I can't even imagine how much work it would be for their whole site. Because imagine the archives for NPR, Leo, and all the shows they do. I mean, there'd just be, it would take a lot of time.
And I would bet that their player is a flash-based player. So I guess all you have to do is replace the player, really. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Are you excited about the iPad? I'm very excited.
You know what? I was just thinking about this the other day. I've always been kind of excited, but I'm getting more excited all the time because I was trying to think to myself, why would I sit down and turn on the TV to watch maybe some live event, some news event or a show, but I don't watch that much content necessarily on my computer right now as I would like to. I would like to watch more on my computer, but I think sometimes it's because the computer, because I have to actually close my laptop and then I put it away somewhere. What I love about the iPad, you know, you can buy that little stand that it can come with and it just makes it a very social experience. So, you know, just putting that somewhere where you can just set it, lean it against something, or put it on the stand and be able to consume media that way. That part of it is really exciting me. Just to just kind of have a better experience from a content perspective, I think, especially with more than one person around.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing is, yes, that's one way that the iPad will be great. And then multiply that times 20, because then there's all these other things. We're learning now that the iPad, for instance, will read and write Microsoft Office documents. So it's going to be a nice little portable, simple thing for the executive who doesn't want more of a computer. I think content consumption is really the big thing. I think that you hit the nail on the head. But I think there's so much more. I think people are, well, the early sales look pretty good. But I think
did you read about the battery?
$99 battery fix. Yeah. That's just to reassure people. I'm convinced.
Yeah. Oh, well, it's good that they're going to replace the entire unit.
We had a little debate on Mac Break Weekly about does that mean a brand new unit, or does that mean a refurbished unit, or what? Because there's no way they're throwing it out because the battery's bad.
I know, but from the article I read, it looked like they were, in fact, replacing the whole unit. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do with the older units, but, it amazes me, having had so many Macs over the years as you have. For instance, my MacBook Air the other day, the hinge on it broke. So when you actually would try to close it, it would make this terrible creaky sound.
Oh, yeah. The Airs do that very quickly, actually.
It's awful. So I took it to the store, and I thought, okay, maybe they can just fix the hinge. This must be a very simple thing, like just take that part out, put a new hinge on, because that's what it looked like. Well, in fact, they actually have to replace the entire screen. So they essentially had to take the computer apart, obviously probably just get rid of that screen altogether, and put an entire new screen, a new hinge, and everything on it. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do with the iPads where they are replacing these batteries. Hopefully, they don't just throw them in some type of garbage.
I think you're going to get a refurb. I think the people are misunderstanding that.
Yeah, it's probably just not explained clearly because the news just sort of came out, right? So that's what I would guess.
And I think the whole point of this is just to avoid all of the furor that went on over the iPhone not having a replaceable battery. They just want to let you know, well, no, it's replaceable. We'll do it. $99, and you get a brand new iPad.
Yeah.
Slightly refurbished.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Also, Leo, on another sort of, it's not really Apple related, but the fake Steve Jobs, have we ever had him on Net at Night?
No, we should get Dan Lyons on, shouldn't we?
He should. I was reading, I interviewed him a couple of years ago when I was at City TV, and I was thinking to myself, did we ever have him on Net at Night? Because he's hilarious.
Well, now he's got a show.
I know. So he's written for Newsweek and written a book, but now he's working on a comedy series, and I can't wait to check this out. And it's about, I think, a .com titan, as far as I can understand from what's available.
It's Steve Jobs. Come on.
Yeah. I'm guessing, obviously, it's Steve Jobs. So he is working on it. From what I understand, though, he's not starring in it. He's just working on the script. But that'll be kind of fun because Dan Lyons is just a total riot. He's so smart, so funny, and just a really down-to-earth, nice guy. So it'll be definitely a series to watch.
It's funny that you should say that because there's some people who don't like him so much.
Really? I spent probably a couple hours with him when he was at an event in Toronto, and I really liked him.
A good friend of ours, very well-known journalist, hates him. And I won't say the name, but felt very slimed by Dan Lyons and never got an apology and thinks that he's just, I'll tell you off the air. I don't want to fire up any feuds, but some people do not think so highly of Dan Lyons. We should get Dan on the show and ask him.
We should get him on.
Now,
I'll try to get him.
This TV show of his is not going to be on broadcast.
No, it's not. I think that's what makes it kind of interesting is it will be streaming online for a network called Epix, which I don't think I've ever heard of before.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's obviously fitting because of the type of content. It would make sense for the web audience. But, let's get him on. I'll work on that. And we can talk to him a little bit more about this series and what he's doing and just have a chat. Because I have to say, I thought it was just really genuine and down to earth when I met him, and so we'll have him on.
Good.
We'll get him on
I'd love to meet him. He's a superstar, really. I mean, he's,
Oh, yeah,
he's,
he is.
in fact, Andy Anaka was saying, why didn't I think of fake Steve Jobs? That guy's got more work from that one bad blog than anybody.
I actually think, if I'm correct, the speaking agency that I'm with, the Lavin agency, I think they represent Dan Lyons.
Well, you should be able to get to him then.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I'm sure I can. So I thought that was kind of funny because he speaks all over the place. I'm thinking, he really has made quite the career out of being the fake Steve Jobs.
Well, it helps to be funny.
It does, and he is funny. So, Leo, we have a guest. I think he's waiting, Dave Barrett from Expensify.
Poor guy. He's been waiting a long time, and I apologize, Dave, for keeping you waiting so long. We're going to get to him in just a second, but I do want to mention our sponsor, if I might, Carbonite Pro, before we go to him. Is that all right?
Yeah, let's do it.
And then I'll get him on. The Skype. Carbonite Pro is a great solution for people who are looking for backup in business. So we've talked about Carbonite before. That's the consumer-based online backup. Now, this is very important. If you back up, and everybody, I'm sure, everybody who listens to this show must back up, right?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I know. You never remember. And most of you probably back up to a local external hard drive or maybe DVDs or CDs, and that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. But you've got to think, what's going to happen if there's a fire in your house or a flood or a hurricane or your laptop gets stolen? And your backups, you don't have them. And so there's a very good reason and a lot of experience to back this up that it's fine to make a local backup, but you also have to have an off-site backup. That's really, really important. A great way to do an off-site backup is with Carbonite because it backs it up automatically, you don't have to think about it, to the internet all the time. Doesn't slow your system down. It's very, they've done some really great work on being polite, not slowing down your CPU, not slowing down your internet connection. So it's when you're idle, it backs stuff up. It gets it up to the internet encrypted, uses AES 256-bit, which if anybody knows about encryption, that's the best you can get. Strong encryption. Uses SSL to send it as if that weren't enough. It uses SSL to send it, so you're really private. And then it's there, and you can use an iPhone application to get it back. You can go online on any computer, log into your Carbonite account and get it back. So Carbonite's really cool. And what Carbonite found was a lot of people were using the consumer version of Carbonite in their business because there's nothing like it. So they said, we should make a business version, and they have. It's Carbonite Pro. And in fact, if you go to carbonitepro.com, you can find out all about it. All the features, all the benefits of Carbonite, but designed for multiple computer systems. So there's a centralized dashboard. You don't have to be technical to set it up. You don't need any additional hardware. It's very simple. You'll know which systems are backed up, which aren't. There's never a risk of data loss. Your employees can restore, if you give them permission, restore at any time, so they don't have to bother you to get a file back. Files are, of course, again, encrypted, so they're secure. Of course, Carbonite uses the most sophisticated data centers, so they're really safe there. And the prices for your business start as low as $10 a month. I'll give you some examples. If you have 8 computers, 5 gigs of backup, $25 a month. 18 computers with a total of 5 gigs of backup, $50 a month. It's less than if you did the individual Carbonite. Carbonite Pro for business. It's just brand new. Highly recommend it. Right now, Windows only. Mac version is coming soon. You can try it free for 30 days. Just go to carbonitepro.com. I did the free trial just to see how it worked, and it was really great. They were very helpful. Lots of explanations and help and video files and everything to get you started. They keep checking in with you. They really do a great job. These guys are all about customer service. carbonitepro.com. If you've got a small business, backup is more important even than for an individual. You got to back it up to get it back. carbonitepro.com. All right, let's get our guest on the line here.
All right. So David Barrett from Expensify. Yeah, backing up files. Oh, yeah, so many people forget to do that, Leo. It's amazing.
It breaks my heart. I get the calls on the radio shows, and people say, "Oh, yeah, I had pictures of my family from, when the kids are little and they're gone." And it's like, dude, I've been telling you for years how to back it up.
I know.
Howdy.
Hey, here we go. You got him on the
David.
line. Hey, David.
How's it going?
Great. Thank you for your patience. I'm sorry, as usual. I'm running behind, but we're glad you're here today.
Thanks for waiting around, David.
Where are you located?
San Francisco.
Oh, great. Just down the road a piece.
That's right. That's right.
And your company is Expensify.com.
That's right. We're Expensify, and we do the expense reports that don't suck.
I love your tagline. But all expense reports suck. That's the thing, is that this is one of the reasons I thought it would be great to have you on the show, is that there's nothing I hate doing more than expense reports. And I think a lot of people are in the same camp.
Absolutely. It's the worst.
Yeah, I think expense reports are interesting because of all sort of the business documentation out there. They're the one thing that people absolutely despise more than any other. So it's a good opportunity for us.
So how do they not suck with you?
What do you do to make them suck less?
So the way we don't suck is we import all of your expenses and your receipts right off your credit card, submit expense reports through email, and then reimburse everything entirely online.
So I give you my credit card information, and you just know. I don't have to enter anything.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like Mint.com and others will basically import it straight from the bank accounts, so there's no typing involved.
Oh, I think that's so fantastic.
And also, you must mention we have smartphone applications for iPhone, Android, BlackBerry, and Palm Pre. So when you're on the road and you have to take a picture of a cash receipt or whatever, you can basically take it with the application, and it'll upload straight to our service.
So you take a picture of it.
Yeah. So the idea is with Expensify, you never have any paper receipts at all. So if it's most credit card transactions, we can give you an IRS-ready e-receipt right off the credit card. So for about 80% of the transactions, you can literally just throw away the paper receipt. You don't need it at all. For most of the expenses that are above that, you just need to take the email receipt you were sent from the website, like Orbitz, Expedia, whoever, forward that to receipts@expensify.com. We'll convert it into a full-color receipt. And for those few straggler paper receipts that remain, just take a picture with your camera phone and upload it straight to our service. So at no point do you have to deal with paper receipts at all with Expensify.
That's pretty appealing. Because right now, I actually just came into work today, and I have a big stack of paper receipts that I've been carrying around my wallet. And within just a couple of weeks, if you're running your own business, you can imagine that you have a lot of receipts. You know, everything you're buying is, and you want to write it off, right?
Oh, yeah, exactly. And plus, I mean, it's not just the big pain dealing with it, but also we find that a lot of our users just lose receipts and they can't get reimbursed. So essentially, I think that's what makes expense reporting such a painful process is you're extending a zero-interest loan to your employer, and then you have to act as your own repo man to get collection.
Exactly.
So it's just a big
I hate
pain.
it. Yeah.
Exactly. So, there's a lot of pain there, and we do everything we can to, eliminate that pain and make the world a better place one expense report at a time.
Now, I notice you're using single sign-on. We were talking earlier about the fact that Twitter wants to do @anywhere, and Google has Connect, and Facebook has Connect. You use Google and Yahoo.
Yeah, so we're all up in single sign-on all over the place. We just launched the Google Marketplace, and so we have an OpenID integration with Gmail as well as now the new Google Apps Marketplace. We were one of the launch partners there, so that was pretty exciting.
So I just sign in with my Google account, and now I have an Expensify account?
Yeah, you're good to go.
Well, that was easy. I love that.
And so likewise, we are integrated with the Intuit Workplace. We're one of the most viewed applications in Intuit Workplace. We're one of the Force 40, one of the top 40 Salesforce.com applications. And so, these marketplaces have been really good for us, both on the website as well as in the mobile applications themselves.
I actually have an account. This is amazing. I just log in.
Yeah, that's the best thing. I just saw that. That's actually one of the reasons when I got, just so you know, Leo, David, his company, or I guess directly from him, had sent me a press release just announcing their presence in Google Marketplace in the App Store. And I thought it was so cool that I just, with my Gmail account, could all of a sudden just log in and manage everything that way. Because like we've talked about before on the show, Leo, so much of my life is being taken over by Google in a good way, in the sense that that's kind of my central place for managing my life and my work.
This is a nice workflow you've set up here too. I'm on this start page, and it's very simple. Create a new report, manage reports, manage receipts, manage expenses, and then I'm going to set up a company. We use QuickBooks, so I'm just going to. It's very easy. I just log in basically to my QuickBooks account, right?
Yeah, that's right. We support QuickBooks Online, QuickBooks Desktop, pretty much everything going back for a while, and
FreshBooks too.
Oh yeah, we support FreshBooks as well. We find that actually, expense reporting and invoicing are actually just the same thing by two different names, especially if you're a consultant that has a lot of rebillable expenses. Effectively, your clients typically want receipts. They want a lot of documentation that this, purchase was a real deal. And so it's kind of like the same thing of submitting an expense report, except you're invoicing the client instead of doing a reimbursement.
Now, there's a lot of competition in this space. FreshBooks, they're actually from Toronto, where I'm based, and there are many other services online. How do you think you guys are different or sort of have a competitive advantage over some of them?
Well, I wouldn't say we really compete with FreshBooks. We're a partner with them. We don't. The there are customers who use us for invoicing. Our focus is very squarely on expense reporting. And so I think that our integration with FreshBooks is very similar to our integration with QuickBooks. It's very complementary, but not really competitive, if you will. So I'd say the real competition, frankly, is like the Concur, the biggest name out there. They're the 500-pound gorilla of the expense reporting space. But they're really focused at the sort of the high-end Fortune 500 companies. And so if you have more than 1,000 people, maybe Concur is the right option for you. But for everything else, I think that we're the better solution.
Leo, I don't know if you remember when we both worked at Rogers together. If you wanted to submit an expense report to Rogers, it took, I couldn't even understand the software because it was so complicated.
Yeah. Or worse, at Ziff Davis, you used an Excel spreadsheet. They had a customized spreadsheet that broke every time. And it was the biggest pain in the butt. But I would imagine most companies now are using a solution like this. I mean, I can't believe anybody would use anything else.
Well, actually, we found that the real competition, honestly, is Excel and email, because pretty much everyone just rolls their own thing with some template that they download off the web. And so that's the primary concern that we have, is reaching out to people to tell them it's like there's a better way. The help is on the way, and we can help you out. Most people just don't even realize that. And so, I mean, in the small business space, getting the word out is the real challenge. And so I think that's why, like the Google Apps Marketplace and these different mobile application marketplaces, they really help reach out into the highly fragmented small business space and get the word out in a cost-effective way, because most people aren't searching for expense reports. Search engine marketing only works if people are searching for your solution. If they don't know your solution exists, they're not searching for it. And so the real challenge is just leveraging word of mouth, leveraging these marketplaces, and just getting the word out that way.
Now, you guys have been around for a couple of years. It seems like you've sort of been reinventing yourselves over time. How big, you started the company, how big is Expensify now?
So now we're 6 people. And so, the reinvention happened. We launched actually at the TechCrunch 50 in 2008 with this really awesome prepaid MasterCard product. And everyone's like, wow, it's so creative and innovative, but I just want to import my real credit card. We're like, well, if you want to, I guess we can do that. And so we sort of retooled around that. We launched last March, actually, this credit card-based approach. And it's been incredibly popular. And I think that, so we've been growing ever since. We did an Intuit, all these other marketplaces and things like this. And I think ever since December 15th last year, we did sort of our 1.0 launch, and that's really helped us turn the curve. And now we're seeing the real exciting growth.
It's kind of funny that I'm just thinking to myself that most people hate expense reports, and you've made a living out of dealing with expense reports. Something some people might not want to do. But what did you do before Expensify?
Well, actually, it's funny you mentioned Mark Cuban. Our last company actually was a company called Red Swoosh, which did a peer-to-peer content delivery, and Mark Cuban was the investor behind that. And
a wonderful, wonderful guy.
Yeah, I mean, he's a really interesting fellow, no doubt. So it's interesting because actually in the way that whole investment went down is that there was a discussion with Mark Cuban likewise saying there's no way we can ever do real video on the internet. And we're like, well, we can do it with peer-to-peer technology, BitTorrent, all that junk. We do very similar except optimized for legitimate content instead of piracy. So it's a smaller user base but more profitable because you don't get sued out into oblivion.
Right.
We were acquired by Akamai a few Aprils ago, and so I basically
you're
after
owned
that.
by Akamai.
Yeah, we were acquired, and then I left Akamai about a year later.
Oh, I see. I get it. And so now you're doing your own thing again, a serial entrepreneur.
I guess so. I mean, well, I think it's just like I've always hated expense reports. From the smallest companies to the biggest companies, I always assumed, well, surely someone out there has a good solution, and just maybe I just don't have it. But everywhere I went, it just got worse and worse. And so I'm like, well, I could build that. I mean, I could just do that right now. And so that's what we did.
Now, how much does it cost to use Expensify?
It's free for individuals and very small businesses, and it's basically $5 per submitter per month, with the first 2 free. So if you have, let's say 3 people who submit you an expense report every month, it costs $5 a month. If you're an individual or if you have just 1 or 2 people, it's just completely free for you.
So I could, I guess I'd have to get my company to go along with it, though, if I wanted to use it.
Well, that's one thing that's, I think, really is unusual about Expensify. And one thing we've recognized early on is that expense reporting, now this is going to sound cheesy, but it's actually sort of a social or a vital product. Every time you submit an expense report, you introduce us to someone more important than you. Your manager, your finance department, things like this. And so we tap into that natural sort of virulence to make this bottom-up adoption curve. So the vast majority of our users are individuals, salespeople, people at the low end of the totem pole, and they just hate their expense reporting process. They come to Expensify, they check it out, they create an expense report, and they just submit it to their manager.
And they say, hey, boss, use this.
Exactly. They don't ask permission. They just do it. And we find that about 92% of these out of the blue expense reports are accepted. And we just are able to convert organizations from the bottom up in this way. And so I think that this has been like one reason that we've been able to grow as fast as we have is because we don't really wait for the top-down sale, which is very expensive, and you got to make all these calls. No, we just do this bottom-up approach, and people basically turning the expense report submitters into our salespeople. They're our lead generators, if you will.
Yeah, I bet.
I just have to ask this, being in Canada, and I know there's people listening from other countries. Do you deal with different currencies?
Yeah, we support 50 international currencies, and so we'll do automatic conversion on the day of the expense. So, for example, if you have a currency like 2 weeks ago, we will look up the historical market exchange rate between whatever the currencies are you want to convert. And we'll do
that's good.
Yeah, so it's pretty slick. It was kind of a pain to get set up, but it's good now it's in place.
It was a pain for you, but good for us.
Yeah, exactly. We do this sucks, so you don't have to.
Yeah. I had to, because when I worked in Canada, I would have to file expense reports in both dollars, Canadian and U.S., and it was ridiculously complicated. That would have saved me so much time. I wish I'd had that.
Well, that's one thing that's sort of unusual is, Expensify, if you go to the site, as you said, it's just super easy. It's like, wow, why hasn't it always been done this way? And the reason it hasn't always been done this way is because actually making that easy is incredibly difficult. There's we talked about security earlier on. We're a PCI compliant shop. Now, PCI compliance is the same security standard that banks, PayPal, all the big guys use. It's incredibly rigorous, 280 points. It's really, really intense security. And so we're actually PCI compliant. In order to get PCI compliance requires that we have, 3 geo-redundant data centers. We have all this junk in place that, you don't really see it because you just see the functionality on the high end, except underneath under the hood, there is a lot going on. Furthermore, we also have, for example, we do direct deposit reimbursement. So your employer, we can just withdraw the money from the employer's account and just do a deposit straight into the employee's account. And so having that level of integration.
I like that too.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it doesn't, it's easy to describe. It sounds like it's really easy. Of course, why wouldn't everyone have that? But getting that actually happening is so much work. But now that's all done, we're very happy with it.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us. I never thought I could actually get excited about expense reports, but
really.
You kind of make it exciting.
That's right. Hey, it's been a real pleasure talking to you, and I hope to hear that you switched to Expensify away from Expenser. I know that we all sound the same, but there's big differences between us.
You heard that I'm using Expenser, and the only reason I use Expenser is because Dial to Do worked with it. So you got to call Dial to Do and get them to integrate with you.
We'll look into that. I'll look into that, and I'll get back to you.
But they don't do the one thing that I love about this, which is taking a picture of the receipt. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, that's handy.
Actually, the truth is I don't have to file expense reports anymore. You know what I did at South by Southwest? I just brought my CFO with me.
Well, that's the best way. For everyone else, there's us.
Yeah.
I said, Lisa, I just bought something here. she takes care of that. It's great to talk to you, David. Sounds like a great company.
Thank you so much.
Expensify.com. Take care, David.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Wow, I like that a lot. I think that's really neat.
Yeah, it's definitely a painful process, and he kind of makes it easy. I love how into it he is too.
Yeah. Well, I guess when you're an entrepreneur, there's a certain kind of person that it takes, a certain kind of energy and enthusiasm, and as I start to meet more and more entrepreneurs. By the way, South by Southwest was lousy with them. You really start to see a kind of type. You've got to have that energy and enthusiasm for what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because
well, especially in this world, with all the different companies we're talking about, some of them are doing such niche-oriented things, right? Who just does expenses, or maybe another company that just does invoicing. And so you have to get kind of excited about these sort of obscure things that, 20 years ago, that would not necessarily have been your job.
But that's smart. I think a lot of times people think they want to do the big thing, the grand thing, the change the world. I want to do the next Facebook. And really, most of the most successful companies in the world find a niche and fill it. They find a need, and the more narrow in some ways, the better. The more likely you are to find success, and they super serve that group. And I think that's actually the secret: is not to try to do the great American novel, but just do the simple thing.
Well, look at Twitter. I mean, one of the reasons I think we would both agree that Twitter is so popular is that it's really dead easy. I mean, it's more simple than Facebook or MySpace or anything. 140 characters. Pretty much anyone with a grade 8 education can participate in that community.
Well, and that's the irony of this new Twitter @Anywhere, as they get more. And by the way, the @ sign was something users figured out on Twitter.
Yes.
Not
I read that.
Twitter. But as they get more sophisticated, you kind of wonder, well, is that going to hurt them in the long run, or they've actually done, I think, a good job of keeping it as simple as possible, and I think they realize that.
Yeah, it hasn't really changed too much.
But they didn't think, when they started, they thought they were doing a text messaging business. That's one of the things Ev said that I thought was quite interesting, is that the reason that they've succeeded in places like Chile, where there's very little infrastructure, is because they focused on SMS. And text messaging is everywhere. And so that's an example of in a way really being quite narrow. It was a text, SMS based messaging system, and it's just found a lot of utility from its users mostly. The smartest thing Twitter did was create an API and encourage an ecosystem to be built around it.
Oh, every time I turn around, there's some new service that syncs or works along with Twitter. It's amazing. I mean, even the stats that you can get. Like, we talked to the guy from Hootsuite, Ryan, and it just blows me away. Like, you get into Twitter and you think of like how you can actually manage your people you're following and the stats and all that information. It's just phenomenal. So I'd agree with you there.
So we have a video of the week we'd like to end with.
Yes, we started with Leo crowd surfing, and we're going to end with a little chat roulette fun.
Oh no! But wait a minute. I've
worry.
used chat roulette on the show. It's a bad idea, Amber. Stop!
Yes. Chat roulette is not for a younger audience. Do you
remember? Did you see when I used it?
No, I heard about that on Twitter, right?
Yeah. I don't know what I was thinking, but I thought, well, let's try it. It'd be interesting. And the very second image that came up was some guy with it was bad.
Some guy, that's all you have to say.
Some guy.
Leo, you would laugh your head up. I was speaking at an event last week, and someone in the audience, the first question I got was this man who stood up and he said, I'm just wondering, my teenagers are on this site called, I think it's called Chat Roulette, and I'm just wondering what it's all about because they're pretty much addicted to it and they're there all the time. And I'm on stage, there's a couple hundred people in the audience, and I'm just like, well, okay, this is what they're doing on the site. And I'm trying to dance around, all the ways to describe the perverts that you might meet on Chat Roulette. Oh, not pretty.
Yeah, I was speaking to my kids' high school about. We did an event, which was a great event. I want to do it again, called "Wired Families Save Kids," to help families understand what the risks are online and so forth. And I said, anybody know what chat roulette is? And the only people who knew what chat roulette was the high school administrators, who all knew what it was, but the parents had no idea what it was or what their kids were up to. And I was going to show a video of it with the bad parts, blurred or something. And both my wife and daughter said, no, you're just teaching them how to use it. Don't even go there. Don't go there.
Well, this video is, having a little fun with chat roulette. So it's climbing its way up the YouTube charts. I think it had a few 100,000 views last time I looked. It's called Chat Roulette Funny Piano Improv #1. So the idea is, and it's fairly, for the most part, it's fairly PG. They kind of beep out some words that this guy who is playing the piano and singing along has to say. And so he's basically participating in chat roulette, but he is playing the piano at the same time and singing along about the people that he's meeting on chat roulette.
Oh, how fun.
So it's very, very funny.
Well, we'll end with that, but I'll before we play it, I'll say goodnight to you, Amber MacArthur. Enjoy the patio weather.
I will.
Yeah, and thank you for being here. And, of course, you can catch Amber on her blog, ambermac.com. She does Command N, which is a great video podcast at commandn.tv, or you can subscribe in iTunes. And she's also on CP24 doing her show Web Nation. And anything else? Have I missed anything?
My book is coming out, and you can pre-order it now. So you can check it out online at ambermac.com/book, and you will see some more information about the book, and it's out June 10th. So I'll probably really start promoting it in the next couple of months.
Very exciting. That's great. Congratulations. That's really great.
Thank you.
Amber, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time, everybody, on Net at Night.
Reclining dude in a white tank top, leaning his head on his hand, semi-Italian looking, just like his parents had planned. Probably hanging in New York City, from the looks of the walls. I only hope that he does not choose to show me his. What's up? Hanging on chat roulette. Aw, come on.
This is great.
I know, it's hilarious.
Man in the dark with his headphones on, doesn't want no one to see him. Sitting there late at night on chat roulette. Girl in the dark, how you doing tonight? Where you living in the world? Are you doing alright? No headphones, you got some speakers. Saw the reflection in the flames of your glasses and I thought that it was some headphones. Sorry I misunderstood the situation.
I love it that he's actually doing this and it keeps people watching him.
Oh yeah, and they're laughing while he's playing.
Cameras are related that way. Now I can see you a tiny little bit later. A pro is someone who makes money for what they do. And in that sense, I am not at all. Drinking deep from the bottle on a Friday night.
I didn't watch past here.
After this, does it get bad?
I don't know.
You've never seen past this?
No.
Request a song.
I request Fireflies.
She's happy.
She's telling him he's good.
I don't even know this song, but he does, obviously.
She raised her eyebrows in surprise. Her friend had shades on, so you couldn't see her eyes. 3-3-3-3-3-3-3-3-3-3-3 motherfucking 3. This girl is serious about the number 3. Whatever you say to her, she's gonna make hearts with her hand, just like I planned. Girl who likes 3s and hearts, you can't go wrong with that.
I finally figured out a way to keep you on camera in
situation over there.
You have to be really entertaining.
Like putting your thumbs up in the air. That really hurts my feelings. I'm being very serious right now.
Oh, jeez. I just think of my kids on this and going,
now
oh.
you guys are laughing hilariously. Making hands with your hearts and hearts with your hands, just like I planned, just like our parts were fanned out in rapid succession.
Now he's really losing it.
You guys have wooden Venetian blinds behind you. Good night. Don't let the sunlight blind you. I'll see you on the other side.